Hi, and good morning. Welcome to another edition of Wake Up Well, our morning devotional series, to which we are currently in the midst of looking at the holy habits and spiritual disciplines as a church community. And this week we are honing in on specifically fasting, what the scriptures say to us about fasting, what it means to be a Christ follower and to fast. It's something that Jesus almost expects of us. And how can we engage in this spiritual practice so that we may grow in relationship with him? And how can we look through the scriptures and see examples of fasting and how they can apply to our life? And so this morning, I want to look at the book of Esther. It's a beautiful, beautifully written book nestled in the Old Testament. It's only one of two books that are named after women, the other book being the book of Ruth. And the background to this book is that currently, at the time, the children of Israel are in exile. They are in Babylon and the kingdom of Persia under a king called Xerxes. And this story, the story of Esther, is about a young Jewish girl who was selected to be one of Xerxes' wives. And also in that backdrop as well, there are two sort of conflicting families, two conflicting houses that really don't like each other. One is a Persian family, one is a Jewish family, one represented by a man called Haman, and another by a man called Mordecai. And Mordecai and Esther are related. And Haman has a plot to kill the Jews in his nation. And he secretly petitions the king to do this. The king is almost outfoxed by Haman, and Haman has this very nefarious plan to which Esther cottons onto. And she calls Mordecai, her friend, to help her save her people. And what she has to do is to go and see the king. Now, this was something that was very radical. And before that, there are some verses that I just want to read to you now of her actions leading up to that very sort of significant moment in her life. And I just want to read them to you out of chapter 4, verses 15 to 17. Then Esther told them to reply to Mordecai, "Go and gather all the Jews to be found in Susa, and hold a fast on my behalf, and neither eat nor drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my maids will fast as you do. Then I will go to the king, though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish." Mordecai then went away and did everything as Esther had ordered him. We see in these scriptures that Esther knew that if she petitioned God the Father with fasting, that something radical would happen. She knew that if she walked into this room with the king, if she had not been invited, or if he showed displeasure towards her, she would be executed on the spot. This was something that you just did not do. But she knew the fate of her people laid on her. And so that's what she did. She got Mordecai, she said, "Go and gather all the Jews, and I want you to fast for 3 days and for 3 nights." Now, anytime we see a number in Scripture, it's always significant, it's always representative of something. So 3, we know that's a very significant, the Trinity, the nights that Jesus was in the grave, it's a very significant thing. It's what we call a holy number. 7 is also one. So every time you see a number, you think, okay, what is happening here? What is the author of this book trying to say to us here? We just know that this is a holy number. So she goes and says, "Fast for 3 days. My servants and I will also fast, and we will see something happen." And something does. After they fast, she puts on her royal robes and she walks into the inner courts. And the king sees her, and he is pleased. Her act of radical fasting and radical obedience meant that her people were saved. She was able to go to the king and tell the king of Haman's nefarious plot to kill the Jews. And in fact, the gallows that Haman had built for those Jews, he was executed upon himself. So it's significant for us to know that fasting shifts something in our lives. When we petition God through this way, once we remove something from our lives, when we fast maybe food or water or something that is nourishing, when we fully rely on God for our nourishment, when we fully rely on God for what we need, then something significant can happen. Let me ask you this morning, what is that thing that you need to see change in your life? Is there something like Esther did in terms of walking into the throne room? What is your throne room walk today? Is it something that you can approach God with in prayer and in fasting? Is it something that you can journey with in fasting so that you can see God act in your situation? I hope that's a blessing to you. I hope it's encouraging. Bless you all. I'll see you the next time.